now, this might be the single most important shot attempt. I can't put a number of years on it right now. Off the top of my head, I'm not that good. But this is very likely the most important shot attempt any team has had in a long time. This is the difference between going back to San Antonio 2-2 and de facto winning at 3-1. Brunson catches. Oh my God, he really just went. Okay, I think I'm calm enough to make this video now. It's been almost 24 hours since the historical events of Game 4, Knicks Spurs. And where do we even start? The Spurs in the third quarter last night had 0 points in the paint. They were the first team this postseason to go an entire quarter without scoring in the paint. And Wemby played all but 58 seconds this track, so we already know their problems are well documented in getting him shots around the rim, even though they actually did a pretty good job of that in Game 3. That's actually the only tweet I really want to read. Did you know that as a San Antonio fan, you now have enough painful losses to span each generation, right? So you were a 2000 Spurs fan, you have the Derek Fisher .4 shot. If you're a 2010 Spurs fan, you have the Ray Allen event. And if you are now a 2020 Spurs, take your pick. You have Game 2 with the pass to Castle. And you have Game 4, which is the greatest comeback in playoff history. I had that wrong at first. I think I typed NBA Finals in my first post. It is NBA playoff history. 29 points collapse after San Antonio had a historic first half shooting the ball, which there goes your problem right there. Well, there goes one of your problems. There was that. I believe for an away team, they had the biggest lead that a team had ever had in NBA Finals history. It was over. It was completely over. If you turned it off, you were justified. And slowly but surely, they just let the lead drip away. And it's funny because watching these playoffs as close as I have, I drew a direct parallel to the way the Magic did it. Yes, once upon a time, if anyone remembers the Magic and Pistons series, the Magic dropped the lead when they were actually going to send Detroit home. And I don't feel like looking up the numbers right now. Just remember that they were making more threes than usual that game. That's what was happening. Amongst other things, that was really helping them. They were putting Detroit away, and then the threes stopped falling. This team, who's not known for three-point shooters, they don't really have known three-point shooters outside of a name, couldn't make threes anymore, and they had gotten so drunk off of that, and being the young team that they are, they just kept doing it. They just, especially for them, they were on the brink of sending Detroit home. They just wanted to get it over with, and the threes never fell. Detroit clamped up on defense. The rest is history. So for the San Antonio Spurs, after they proceeded to just shoot lights out, and really they were about to steal a second game on the road, and it would have been then to get back to San Antonio tied to the point that no home team would have won a game yet. They came to the third quarter and they had the Orlando Magic syndrome. They couldn't accept that the threes weren't falling. They were getting them up quick. They were getting them up often. There was one possession where I believe they missed three-pointers in one possession. And for them, it was pretty simple. We're shooting hot. One of these are going to fall, and we have such a cushion. There's no way we are not going to just finally get that momentum bucket to carry us over the top. And they did get it, but by the time they started getting it, it was too late. So yes, as I said in last video, this ties directly back into multiple San Antonio problems. We have not even problems, it's just really youth at this point. It's a development thing. As a team, they just aren't at certain spots yet. And so without that historic start, which I think I specifically said the Knicks either needed to be cold or the Spurs needed to be super hot, that's kind of what that first half was. And without having those threes to rely on, what did San Antonio do? You saw them try some P&R that was going absolutely nowhere. A lot of possessions ended up just 1v1. They just did not have bread and butter to go to. And it really is a shame that they lost this game because, wow, even being where they are right now, they could have tied this series. They could be leading this series. And specifically in this game, they got everything they needed to win it. They got everything. Cat had 2 fouls in the first 2 minutes of the game. It might have even been less. And that just causes a cascade of failures for the Knicks. It isn't just, oh, Cat's in foul trouble. No, now they have to, the rotation gets really funky because remember one of their biggest issues when they, for some reason, were willingly running Brunson and Catless lineups. Well, there's going to come a point when he's in that much foul trouble, as in you can't even really trust to play him the rest of the first quarter. Now you have to run those lineups. Now you have to put Huck Porty out there. You have to really dig into that big rotation. And Mitch, I think you saw, oh man, they even had Mitch breathing, gasping out there because his rotation changed and he was gonna have to play more minutes. They just had everything, bro. The 3-point shooting, the foul trouble, the momentum, the fact that they already won the last game. They had it all. And when the game got close and it looked like they might have to execute, who executed better? In my opinion, it was the better team. I bring that back up because I said that the Knicks were a better team. I said they were a better team by multiple margins. And still, as recently as last night, you see tweets saying that the Spurs are the better team. And in my opinion, no, they're not. Look, even if they were up 3-1 right now, I would still agree. If you watch basketball long enough, it happens most of the time that the better team will win a series, but that doesn't always happen, even if there's no injuries present. And specifically for New York, I mean, look at one of the wrinkles they added in there at the end. They had Deuce McBride, who just wasn't really playing the role they needed him to, so then they put in Alvarado, who came in, he made a difference. Even though the Spurs wanted to, make him a space killer, here he is setting screens. He hit a 3. He's making hustle plays. He made a big difference. It was a trade piece. OG Anunoby has just gotten better as the series has gone on. He might be the finals MVP. Brunson has his best game of the series. He was off the other 3 games relative to what he normally does. Goes and has his best game, has clutch moments. Just because San Antonio has Dylan Harper coming off of their bench does not make them the better team. I mean, look at the game that just happened. The better team has more options. They have more things that they can go to. And there's a reason, genuinely, there is a reason that the Spurs are down 3-1 right now. Despite having cranked up the pressure on Jalen Brunson, showing him to the ball a ton, despite having done the same to Cat and trying to take the ball out of his hand so he can't be a hub, the Knicks just keep finding other ways. Maybe the Spurs are the more physical team. They have a bit more youth and athleticism. They're better in those areas. And then they have the rule breaker in Wemby. Obviously, he can guard quadrants of the floor. Guys just try him, and if they're not OG, they try to run away a lot of the times. It's definitely a different ball game with Wemby there, but New York did not go on this historic playoff run by accident to where they've only lost 2 games now since the first round. Or sorry, they've lost 1 game since the first round. They didn't just perform the greatest comeback in NBA playoff history for no reason or on accident. Let's look at the support around them. De'Aaron Fox is a big part of the reason San Antonio lost this game, and it's more than just what happened at the end, and we'll talk about that. But I think sometime in this playoff run, I said the things that he does when he has the ball really only benefit him, and I think you saw that last night. And then during that whole run, how many mistakes were there from him? How many bad shots were there? He, as the veteran on the team, as the point guard, who I think his extension is kicking in. I don't think the extension is actually kicked in yet. He's not on the same page with his guys. Wemby and Fox PNR, I tried to tell y'all, only has so much utility. You saw he thought Wemby was going to short roll one time. Wemby popped. They don't really know each other like that. They don't play off well of each other, or they don't play well off of each other. And I think a lot of people have felt this way for games now at this point. But De'Aaron Fox really probably should come off the bench. This series is not fully over. Remember, San Antonio has home court, so I think game 5 is still winnable, because basically all these games have been winnable for the Spurs by now, so it stands to reason if they're not mentally broken, game 5 is winnable. And then you put the pressure on New York, knowing that if they lose game 6, they have to go back to San Antonio. I would bring De'Aaron Fox off the bench, not as punishment or anything, but he's basically a shooting guard. His biggest function for the Spurs is to sometimes be able to score. Right now, he's not as fast as he used to be, as evidenced by the last play of the game. He's not as fast as he once was. He's not the player that he once was. Right now, I don't know if that's going to come back, but at this moment, he can provide scoring sometimes, and he does. He has. It's 50-50. We've been over that. Now, Harper, on the other hand, is better defensively. I think as a point guard sometimes makes better decisions. And aside from maybe being able to benefit that way, remember, one of the biggest issues that San Antonio has thus far is when Wemby comes off of the floor. And now that's a totally different thing, right? That sinks the defense, I think, more than anything. That's the biggest issue. But you can at least remedy it by, okay, cool, you've had Harper starting. Now here comes, or Wemby has to go to the the bench. That really changes the offense and the defense, but now Fox can come in and he doesn't have to pretend that he's a co-star with Wemby. Let him go try to get some buckets for you, and then manage the rotations from there. If Fox is not having a good game, cool. He doesn't have to play in the clutch over Harper. If Harper's having a good game, he can have those shots. That's a change I would take into game 5. I would also take into game 5 how they started game 3. They made sure Wembanyama was around the basket. They made sure to get him the ball around the basket, and it resulted in a really good game for him. I understand the Knicks are a great team. They're going to adjust. It's not always going to happen. There's a reason that they don't just do this all the time, but keep those principles. Force New York's hand in having to have 2 guys down there with him, or while somebody else has the ball, they're trying to crowd Wembanyama in the paint. Force their hand with that. On defense, same as game 3, keep Wemby near the paint as much as possible. The Knicks also adjusted to this as well, but that's the whole point of coaching. This is the coach chess match that goes on behind what's happening on the court. I think in game 3, one thing that you saw was he was way more comfortable. There was very few times where he was dragged out of that position. You as the Spurs have proven that you can take double-digit leads. You as the Spurs have proven that you can win games at this point. I mean, they have been in all of these enough to win by now. Castle's physicality, especially to start the game and throughout it, that might not be as dependable in the clutch, but we know that Castle not being a dead-eye shooter hasn't stopped him from getting to his spots, hasn't stopped him from being really physical with Knicks guards and getting to where he wants to go and being effective on offense. You have things, if you're San Antonio, that on top of your defense can get you to the promised land. But if I was a betting man, there now has to be a situation where they win 3 straight games, and even if they win 1 or 2, statistically based off of what we've seen, are they going to execute at the end of games or in the clutch of games or down the stretch enough to win 3 straight? Are guys going to be on the same page and looking at each other and knowing, hey, the ball is coming to you right now? Is the situational awareness going to be there? Yeah, let's get to the De'Aaron Fox thing. I just got done watching a video of Cam Johnson not really protecting De'Aaron, but he was giving an NBA player's perspective and trying to remind everybody that everything is happening at 1,000,000 miles an hour. They don't get to sit and watch the game as it's happening like us from the comfort of our homes, but I feel like at every level of basketball, it's taught to not do what Fox just did. Basically, Cam's defense was, well, De'Aaron has never lost a foot race to anybody, and that's probably true, but also he specifically this postseason is dealing with injury. That's 1. And 2, I think what kind of nullified Cam's point a little bit is Fox's press conference. In the post game, he basically just said, oh yeah, I thought I could beat OG in a foot race. He made a good block. That's fine to have confidence in yourself, but that kind of takes away the protection of, well, it was happening really fast and he just thought he could get there. Or it takes away the part where it's a reasonable mistake, because up 1, for that reason, you don't take that chance. I feel like that's just known. Which, by the way, there have been alternate angles that have come out now and showed he was fouled. But that's why you don't do that. I mean, we have seen multiple examples in NBA history of a player almost doing something like this or then doing it, and you see the bench yell at them and all that. You just don't risk that, especially when they worked so hard to win this game. They would probably have won this game if he just runs it out. Maybe you don't make both free throws, but the part about the post-game press conference that bothered me is that he just admitted, I fully meant to do this. It isn't that, oh, I misjudged the distance or I didn't really see him. No, I deadass just thought I could beat OG in a foot race and I went for it. So you saw him and you thought you could beat him. That was a bad decision, man. Wemby didn't even want to protect it. Maybe he's... They asked Wemby about it in postgame, and he said, man, look, I fell down. I didn't really see what happened. He was pissed. Yeah, that's just bad ball, man. That one right there was just bad ball. And of course, just for the discourse, there's people going, well, why aren't we hearing about the Wemby free throws as much? Because Wemby folded as well. I mean, this isn't anything different than what's been happening. He didn't have a great shooting night. It was one of those games where just the raw total of numbers probably looked okay, but if you actually watched the game, it wasn't really a dominant Wemby game. And then he missed the free throws. But it's not even the first or last time that's gonna happen to him. And yeah, he deserves flack for it, whatever. Everything in life is optics, all right? Go ahead. I'm gonna pull out that card, because the fact that a routine, very easy to make decision is what really decided it at the very end, that's gonna overshadow free throws every time. The optics are just worse. And what some people thought was worse was then De'Aaron Fox going to double, and which did leave OG Anunoby open enough to get the tip. But I feel like this was more from the coaching staff. They were already dating back to earlier in this game. I think some in game 3 as well. They've already been showing Brunson too, especially at that point in the game. You saw where he launched from. He meant business. He went for the kill shot. So they showed him too. That was 100% on purpose, in my opinion. I wouldn't really just add that to the Fox low light tape, because there was a low light tape in that second half for him. Look, if it ends in a gentleman sweep, I have seen gentleman sweeps like this before. 2012, 2009. I don't feel like thinking of a ton more series right now, but those are specific final series where history, if you haven't watched those, you might just see 4-1. Those were really good series, and a couple of games could have gone the other way. It doesn't mean the entire result would have flipped. It means the gentleman sweep doesn't do it justice. And as long as game 5 is somewhat close, yes, the gentleman sweep won't have done this one justice, because the Spurs will have been a few key plays and a few decisions away from winning, and that's gonna hurt. That's gonna, if you're a Spurs fan, I'm sorry to tell you, that's gonna haunt you for the rest of it, probably until next year if y'all make it back, because you don't know if you're gonna make it back, especially in today's league. Nothing is promised. You never just want to be the young team that everyone just knows is gonna continue to fight, and they'll eventually win 1 and 2, and you have no clue what happens next. That's a dark path to take. All this being said, I think watching New York win 2 games in San Antonio, and then watching the Spurs very nearly win 2 games in New York, this is a different era of the NBA. I don't know which video I mentioned it in recently, but it just doesn't mean what it used to. Momentum doesn't mean the same thing that it used to. It still matters, but man, there was a time where a team in the Spurs position would have went and got their heads knocked off in the next 2 games. And so because they match up with New York in a way where they can always kind of get the upper hand early, who knows? They come out into game 5 and get Cat in foul trouble again, or any of those starters, right? Because the rotation for the Knicks is so important. That's one thing. Maybe they aren't extremely deep, and that's why they think the Spurs are better, but I wouldn't really consider the Spurs extremely deep either. Either way, foul trouble is specifically a huge knock on what the Knicks like to do. So if that happens, then they don't get to that blazing start, and a couple of other things go the other way, the Spurs could win game 5. We could be back in New York saying that's a must win for the Knicks. But I also think the Knicks, given everything they've been through and everything this franchise has been through, they understand they are 1 away. And a team that knows they are 1 away, sometimes they come out and then knock your head off. So we shall see what happens in game 5. Let me know what you thought about this series so far. Let me know what you think will happen for the rest of it. And if everything goes the way it's trending, we'll be back with a what's next for the Spurs video pretty soon. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe while hitting the bell next to my name if you want notifications every time a new video drops. Appreciate you watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.